Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more details videos. Full match, Coco Gauff, Loïs Boisson, Women's 2025 Semifinals. Relive the full match of the second women's semifinal of this 2025 edition between Coco Gauff and Loïs Boisson. After a dream run that included 2 wins over top 10 opponents, the French hopeful fell in straight sets, 6-1, 6-2 in just 69 minutes, to the world number 2. A commanding performance from Gauff, who advanced to her second final at Port d'Auteuil. It was a summer afternoon that shimmered with electricity. The 2025 women's semifinal was set under a sky painted in blue brilliance, and 2 young stars were ready to etch their names into the fabric of tennis lore. Center court was packed, and all eyes, on the ground and across the globe, were fixed on the marquee matchup, Coco Gauff versus Loïs Boisson. What unfolded wasn't just a tennis match. It was a cinematic blend of grit, grace, and grand ambition. The tale of 2 paths. Coco Gauff came into the match with a resume that had already begun to gleam with historic gold. A French Open title, US Open glory, and a relentless 2025 campaign made her the heavy favorite. Her serve had matured, her backhand carved with precision, and her court coverage unmatched. At 21, Coco wasn't just chasing titles, she was building a legacy. On the other side stood Loïs Boisson, the elegant yet ferocious Frenchwoman, who had captivated fans with her unflinching focus and fluid style. Ranked number 17 entering the tournament, she'd become a Cinderella story. Boisson's run included upsets over top 10 players, showcasing her fearless drop shots, quick feet, and a deceptive serve that often left even veterans flat-footed. But this semifinal wasn't about resumes. It was about one day, one moment, and one chance to play for the biggest trophy of the summer. Set 1, the Gauff engine roars. Gauff came out swinging. Literally. The first point was an exclamation mark, an ace down the tee. She followed it up with a blistering forehand winner that whizzed past Boisson before she could react. Boisson, perhaps a little starstruck, double-faulted twice in her opening service game. The nerves showed. Gauff broke immediately and consolidated with ease. Up 4-1, Coco looked untouchable. But Boisson wasn't going to vanish quietly. The Frenchwoman steadied her hands, started finding her rhythm, and with a backhand slice approach followed by a clean volley, she held serve and raised her racket to the roaring crowd. Then came a thrilling game at 4-2 where Boisson earned her first break point. The rallies extended to 20, sometimes 25 shots, with both players constructing points like master architects. Boisson finally broke through as Gauff netted a backhand. Now 4-3, the match had ignited. However, Gauff's competitive fire burned brighter. She broke back immediately with a diving forehand pass, and then, as if to punctuate her authority, served out the set at love. First set, Gauff 6-3. Set 2, the French resistance. If the first set was a Gauff masterclass, the second became a battle of belief. Boisson began serving with more confidence, mixing spins and angles that kept Coco guessing. Her footwork sharpened. With the crowd chanting her name, she began pushing Gauff deeper and deeper behind the baseline. In the third game, Boisson broke Coco with a blistering cross-court backhand that kissed the line, one of the shots of the tournament. Suddenly, Gauff looked human. Her usually unflappable demeanor showed cracks. A few unforced errors crept in, and Boisson pounced like a lioness sensing vulnerability. At 4-2, Boisson saved 3 break points in a 10-minute game that became a microcosm of the match. Grit, heart, and brilliance. She held and leapt in the air with a scream, fists clenched. The crowd went wild. The momentum shifted. Boisson closed out the set with a cheeky drop shot lob combo that sent Gauff sprinting forward and then backward to no avail. Second set, Boisson 6-3. Match tied. 1 set apiece. A decider beckoned. Set 3, fire meets ice. This wasn't just about strokes now. It was mental, emotional, strategic. Gauff adjusted first. Coachless as always during the match, she sat during the changeover and took deep breaths. Focus. Reset. Refocus. Boisson, beaming with adrenaline, opened the third set serving first and held with confidence. Gauff answered with her own dominant service game. Each point now had the weight of a final. Then came the turning point. At 2-2, Boisson had a 40-15 lead on her serve, but Gauff dialed up the pressure, returning with precision and power. A brilliant backhand return winner, followed by a slice approach, saw Gauff break. The crowd gasped. But Boisson wasn't done. Down 4-2. She clawed back to 4-4, saving 2 break points and forcing Gauff into longer exchanges, where she began to shine again. At 5-5, under immense pressure, Gauff served one of her best games of the match. 2 aces, 1 unreturnable serve, and a net-rushing winner gave her a crucial 6-5 lead. Boisson stepped up to serve, down 5-6, trying to force a tiebreak. But the nerves returned. A double fault, followed by a long rally ending with a netted forehand, and suddenly it was 15-40. Double match point for Coco Gauff. On the next point, Gauff struck a deep return. Boisson scrambled, retrieved it. Gauff moved in. A delicate volley. Boisson lunged, but it was too late. Game, set, match. Coco Gauff defeats Loïs Boisson 6-3, 3-6, 7-5. Post-match emotion and respect. Gauff dropped to her knees, overwhelmed. Boisson walked to the net, face glistening with sweat and pride. They embraced, a long, warm, respectful hug between warriors who had just given tennis one of its finest matches of the year. In the post-match interview, Gauff said, "Loïs is the future of this game. I had to dig deep. That match pushed me to the edge. She may be better today." Boisson, still catching her breath, responded with grace. "To push a champion like Coco this far, it's a dream. I'm proud. And I'm not done yet." The world applauded, not just the scoreline, but the story. A match that meant more. For fans, it was more than a semifinal. It was the handoff of inspiration. From Gauff, the seasoned 21-year-old champion, to Boisson, the fearless 22-year-old upstart hungry for more. For tennis, it was proof that the women's game was rich with talent, storylines, and emotional magic. It was a reminder that greatness isn't only about titles, but about the courage to rise in the face of pressure. For the young girls watching from Paris to Atlanta, from Dakar to Manila, it was a vision, power and elegance, dreams and defiance, in every serve and slice. Looking ahead, Coco Gauff now heads to the final, her third in 2 years, with a chance to etch another page in her growing legend. The crowd may favor her, but her opponent, yet to be determined at the time, would know that Gauff had been tested, mentally and physically, and had come out stronger. As for Loïs Boisson, she leaves the court not with a loss, but with the birth of a legacy. The world had seen her rise. Sponsors would come calling. Fans would chant her name again. And when she returns next year, she'll be no underdog. In the balmy summer air of New York, the Arthur Ashe Stadium was wrapped in electric anticipation. The 2025 U.S. Open semifinal was not just another tennis match. It was the meeting of 2 powerful forces, 2 rising stars of women's tennis. Coco Gauff, the 21-year-old American sensation who had already conquered the French Open earlier in the year, and Loïs Boisson, the French underdog whose Cinderella run had captivated the tennis world. The match was billed as a clash of styles. Gauff, all athleticism, intensity, and baseline aggression. Boisson, a player of poise and precision, who carved points with grace and patience. The crowd leaned heavily in favor of Gauff, their hometown hero. But even they couldn't ignore the serene focus etched on Boisson's face as she walked onto the court, the calm before a brewing storm. Set 1. The tempest begins. From the opening rally, it was clear this match would be a war of wills. Gauff struck first, hammering deep ground strokes into the corners, forcing Boisson into early defense. The Frenchwoman countered with soft hands and deadly accuracy, turning defense into offense with drop shots that kissed the net and volleys that danced on the line. In the third game, Boisson crafted a stunning backhand down the line that drew gasps from the crowd, a reminder that this was no accidental semifinalist. But Gauff was undeterred. She responded with a monstrous 121 miles per hour serve, followed by a ferocious forehand winner that had the stadium on its feet. At 4-4, Gauff dug deep. 2 aces and a perfectly timed lob gave her a vital hold. In the next game, She broke Boisson with a running forehand pass that she punctuated with a primal scream. The first set was hers, 6-4, a tight, tense prelude to what would become an instant classic. Set 2, Boisson's ballet. Down a set, Loïs Boisson transformed. Gone was the tentative player of the opening set. In her place stood an artist painting lines, angles, and possibilities. She neutralized Gauff's power with timely slices and cleverly disguised drop shots, dragging Coco into unfamiliar territory. The short court chess match. Gauff, ever the competitor, tried to force her way back in, stepping inside the baseline, but Boisson's rhythm was immaculate. At 3-2, she produced one of the rallies of the tournament, a 26-shot exchange that saw Gauff sprint corner to corner before Boisson ended it with a sublime one-handed backhand drop volley that hung in the air like a whisper. The Frenchwoman was in the zone. She broke Gauff twice, taking the second set 6-2, sending a clear message, Je suis là. I am here. Set 3, heart versus nerve. The deciding set was a symphony of momentum swings. The crowd roared with every point. Gauff broke first, showing off her signature grit with lightning reflexes at the net. But Boisson clawed back, exploiting Gauff's occasional inconsistency on the second serve. It was 3-3, and nothing separated them but milliseconds and inches. In the seventh game, Boisson faced triple break point. Her response? 3 unreturnable serves and a gutsy drop shot that left Gauff lunging in vain. The applause was deafening, admiration swelling for the French underdog, whose finesse was now winning over even the most die-hard Gauff fans. But Coco Gauff is made of steel. At 5-5, she locked in. Channeling the fire that had taken her to Grand Slam glory, she played a near-perfect game, crushing returns, screaming winners, and an ace down the tee to break Boisson at love. She served for the match. The pressure was suffocating. Boisson pushed back, saving 2 match points with divine precision, one with a jaw-dropping backhand pass, the other a featherlight drop shot. But Gauff's third match point was the one she had visualized countless times. A long rally ended with a cross-court forehand that clipped the sideline, called in by a whisker. Boisson challenged. The stadium hushed. The replay showed the ball catching the line by a millimeter. The screen flashed in. Coco Gauff fell to her knees, arms skyward. Boisson walked to the net with the grace of a champion, her face a mixture of heartbreak and pride. Final score, 6-4, 2-6, 7-5, Gauff into the final. But both players immortalized in one of the greatest semifinals in U.S. Open history. After the roar, reflections, and reverence. In her post-match interview, Gauff fought back tears. That was the toughest match I've played all year. Loïs is an artist out there. She made me better today. Honestly, she deserves all the flowers. Boisson, stoic but smiling, simply said, I gave everything. I leave with no regrets. But next time, I won't just make it close. The tennis world agreed. This wasn't the last they'd see of Loïs Boisson. The match wasn't just a win for Gauff. It was a celebration of women's tennis, of resilience, beauty, and sport at its absolute best. The legacy of a battle. Long after the lights dimmed over Flushing Meadows, fans still talked about the rhythm of Boisson's backhand, the roar of Gauff's return, the razor-thin margins that decided destiny. Analysts hailed it as the match that changed the narrative, showcasing that the women's game was rich not just in talent, but in storytelling, heart, and drama. Young girls around the world watched that match and saw possibility, saw themselves in Coco's fire and Loïs's finesse. Tennis historians would mark July 2025 as the month the new guard fully arrived, when Coco Gauff took another step toward greatness and Loïs Boisson introduced herself, not as a one-hit wonder, but a force to be reckoned with. The final still awaited. But in many hearts, this semi-final, this 2-hour, 47-minute masterpiece, was the true final. And its memory would last a lifetime,